Hi everyone, welcome to the Reclaiming Bossy podcast. My name is Mahika and we are in Madrid. So this is the Madrid season and this episode is the ultimate Madrid guide. I moved here a few years ago for my study abroad and I fell in love with the city. It's a city that made me go from girl to woman, and I feel like a lot of people move to Madrid and to Spain and it changes the way that they see their life and themselves. This episode is for anyone. If you are a British tourist, an American tourist, a confused international wanting to move to Spain and start your life, I hope that you find this episode fun. There's a lot of fun recommendations, but also advice on how to navigate living in Spain and creating a life from scratch. Enjoy! I am so excited to be here. Maddy, can you please start by introducing yourself as if you're speaking to someone you've never met before?
Okay. Well, first off, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. My name's Maddy. I'm from the US. I grew up in a really small town in Virginia, but I was very lucky to be surrounded by so many native Spanish speakers from all different Spanish-speaking countries, and that just started my passion for Spanish. So I asked for Rosetta Stone when I was in third grade, and my parents were like, "Why do you want this?" And then I just kept learning Spanish, and that brought me to Spain to study abroad here. And I just could not imagine myself going back to the US and living there. So I studied abroad again. Again, parents are like, "Are you crazy?" Yes. And then I just never left. And now it's been almost 7 years.
Wow. Okay, so this is like the real life Emily in Paris, and my hope is that this conversation is the ultimate Madrid guide for anyone that is wanting to move to Spain, move to Madrid, and learn to embrace a culture that's not their own. Emily in Paris is a little controversial because French people were quite unhappy with how their culture was depicted and Americanized, and I think there is a whole debate on how to embrace a culture and adopt it without appropriating it, which I think that you've done really well. And so tell us a little bit, who is Maddy in Madrid and what are you up to?
So I think when you do decide to move to another country, you are taking on a big responsibility. You cannot just be the same person that you've always been and move to a new country and expect everything to be the same. It's not. And I think a lot of people get stuck comparing the two all the time. Like, oh, this is better in the US. We do this better here. It's like, this is not a competition. You choose to move somewhere new. You need to embrace it for what it is. Whether you don't like how things go and move slow here, or, you chose that. You have to embrace it. And I think one thing in Paris that I've noticed is she didn't really learn the language. That should be step one. You should be doing that before you even go, is starting to practice and learn the language, because that will completely change your experience. And now what I see, a lot of people from the US and other countries that move to Spain, they don't really speak Spanish. Like, how do you expect to learn how the Spanish people or how the Spanish culture is when you don't even make an effort to speak their language and understand them in their own language? They're sharing something about their culture in a different language and things are lost in translation.
100%.
Step one, learn language. Step two, don't compare new and old and this and that and your old home and your new home. I just think it cuts out some of what makes your new home being so great. It's like, well, why are you comparing them? You shouldn't do that.
I love that. And let's talk about step one, because I have a lot of American friends that I met when I lived here as well. I'm British. British tourists are no better than American tourists. And I think we come second in terms of being embarrassing, trying to learn other people's languages, because there's this almost arrogance that a lot of English speakers have that we know the most important language, the most global language, all this kind of stuff. And also our education systems aren't good at teaching modern foreign languages, because it's like, why would you need that? And so do you have advice for any English speakers, any Americans that have been trying to learn Spanish? I know so many that try to learn the language but really struggle to cut through with the accent, the grammar, and just being able to communicate with confidence.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think we have the same issue in the US where it's, why would I learn another language? Everyone speaks English. I'd say a lot of people learn in school. They have their 2 classes a week, 1 hour session. That's just not enough. It's not enough to learn a language. I know some people find it easier, some people find it more difficult, but you should be picking up a book in a class, speaking, doing a language exchange every single day of the week, and sometimes multiple days. You should be reading one day. That afternoon, do a language exchange or have a class. If you can spend some time in a Spanish-speaking country or whatever language you're trying to learn, you absolutely should do that. I see people study abroad here all the time, and they stay in their US American friend groups. I'm like, what are you doing? You're living in Spain for 6 months. Go meet Spanish people. Go meet other international people. I think just fully embracing that, immersing yourself amongst Spanish speakers, making friends, language exchange partners, maybe dating someone. I think that is the best way to learn, but people don't embrace it and take advantage of it enough.
I completely agree. And I think that's so important. When you move to a new country, it's super scary, actually. And I remember when I moved to Spain a few years ago, I did not know anyone. I lived alone. I didn't have roommates. I was self-taught, so I didn't do Spanish in high school, and I was very mediocre. I had like a B1 in Spanish, and it was very challenging. And I made a promise, like, I'm not going to go and hang out with all the English, like, party students because I left London. Why would I go and, like, be in that bubble? But it's hard. It's hard to make friends. It's hard to integrate yourself. And so do you have any advice for someone who's moving to a new city, a new country, whether that be in Spain, in Madrid, or anywhere, and how to kind of step out of that bubble and meet new people and make friends?
It's a really good question. I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially if you're more shy or introverted. Like, how do I put myself out there in a foreign country? Nowadays with technology, so obviously there are pros and cons, but a huge pro is all of these meetup groups online now. And that's how I met most of my friends here at the beginning. And I moved here just a little bit before the pandemic, so then everything was shut down. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't go meet anyone. And there was a Facebook group. It's called Girl Gone International. They're all over the world. And they hosted, you know, a little park picnic, and I put myself out there. I was like, this could be uncomfortable. I might not meet anyone, but at least I'm going. I'm trying, putting myself out there. Ended up making 3 great friends that day that I'm still friends with today, so 6 years later. So step 1, find online meetup groups. There are so many now. There's so many on social media. You know, if a friend is going to one, see if you can tag along. Another big one that I really has brought me so much joy in Madrid is I've gone to a coffee shop pretty much every day now for the last 4 years, and that has quickly become my neighborhood community. So yesterday I went on a park walk with one of them. We always host dinners. We do wine tastings together. I'm walking around the neighborhood. I run into someone. We sit and chat for 30 minutes, or we grab a quick coffee together. So I think becoming a local at a place, or 2, 3, maybe a bar, maybe it's a library or a bookstore, going there, showing your face multiple times a week, staying consistent, start chatting with the person, like, hey, like, oh, do you have any book recommendations, or how long have you been working here? And then you just naturally build a community that way.
I've met some of my favorite people in my life on the co-working table in a coffee shop, because it's that like big table where everyone kind of sits and works, and you kind of ask people, what are you working on, and chat. And that was one of my biggest culture shocks, like coming from the UK, especially in London, people don't talk to strangers, but in Spain it's very open and you can start a conversation. What have been your biggest culture shocks? Like I said, for me it was, oh, you can talk to strangers.
Well, in the US we talk to everyone. So I've had a man make a joke about like stealing my french fries at the airport. I was like, who are you? So we talk to everyone. I felt comfortable in Spain though because of that, having that background, so that was really nice. Biggest culture shock, things just move at a different pace. Well, things close during lunch, so if you need to go get your nails done, you can't go from 2 to 5, or you need to go to the butcher, you gotta go in the morning or at night. You call, maybe your Wi-Fi's broken, they're like, yeah, I'll get to it next week. I need my Wi-Fi. You just learn to move at a slower pace. People don't take coffees to go, they sit, they enjoy it, they watch people walk by, and just learning to live at not a rushed pace. And I absolutely love that. I think it takes so much stress, weight off your shoulders, just moving through your day. I don't need to be anywhere. The world's gonna spin tomorrow. Like, it's all gonna be okay. And Spain has definitely taught me that.
I love that. And I remember when I first moved here, I realized people don't jaywalk here. They again, coming from London, people are just running across the street. And I realized oh my God, life doesn't stop if you wait the extra minute for the light to turn green.
It's not gonna change anything.
And then what you said around pace of life is so true. Before we move on, you've mentioned coffee shops a few times. What are Maddy's top coffee shops in Madrid?
Okay.
But I'm going to give you categories.
Okay, good idea.
Maddy's best coffee shops to work, because I think working coffee shops are different. Also, Madrid has this culture of some places you can't take a laptop, or you can't take a laptop on the weekend. And so for my digital nomads or my workaholics or my writers, where are the best places to take a laptop?
I just discovered a new place last week. That's awesome. I've been going pretty much every day now. It's called Nofin. Nofin. It's massive. It's right by the Madrid River. Lots of natural light, beautiful, good coffee. They don't bother you. They let you just sit there. They have food. So go to Nofin if you need to work.
What about for a first date?
First date. Okay. I'm a big Bar Trafalgar fan. I know.
What?
It's called Bar Trafalgar.
Okay.
Wait, is this still coffee shops?
You can do...
Sorry, coffee shop first date.
You can give us bar and coffee.
Okay.
So chill first date coffee.
Chill first date coffee. I would maybe go to... It's called 4.
Okay.
They have some really good little food. If you're hungry, they have really good coffee. It will send you into another dimension. It's so strong.
Okay.
So good for a first date, I guess.
And then bar?
And the bar is called Bar Trafalgar.
Okay.
It's a very vibey spot. The lights are low.
Okay.
They have kind of chic, elegant little tapas to share. Cocktails. They play vinyls, good music.
Okay. What about a post-night out debrief coffee with your friends?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably need food.
Yeah.
Since we went out the night before.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna head to Watts Cantina.
Okay.
And get pancakes, bacon and eggs.
Oof.
And a big make coffee.
What about a place? So for me, a big culture shock in Spain was like some of the good authentic places don't have like all the 50 different types of coffee. It's just café con leche, café sin leche, café con leche de soja. And I remember like I got so used to that when I went back home, I was like, can I get a coffee with soya milk? And the barista was like, I don't have time for this. What do you want? Like, do you want a cappuccino? Do you want a latte?
With all the syrups added in and like this, I don't know, brown shaken sugar espresso. I'm like, what is this?
Where can someone just get a good old plain café con leche?
I would say probably, you know, my second home, the extension of my living room, Cafeteando. It's just solid café con leche, beautiful spot, natural light. You might start talking to people from, you know, the area. The owner's hilarious. He's so fun to hang out with. So yeah, I would just go there for a café con leche and a conversation probably.
I love that. Last one. What's a spot to go to where you want to journal and you want to be alone and you want to sit with your thoughts and just kind of like romanticize your life, reflect?
Indoors, an indoor coffee shop.
It can be outdoors as well, but just like a more quiet, peaceful, solo date kind of spot.
Okay. I would maybe go to Plenty. It's with an I at the end. It's in a very interesting neighborhood called Los Jerónimos. So you're right next to Prado, right next to Retiro. They have a terrace in the sun. It's very calm there. So you can go and have some breakfast, journal, maybe walk Retiro after. It's a good, just chill spot.
And about hidden gems, because a lot of people use social media as a way to kind of find like the gentrified, cool coffee shops, but as amazing as they are, and I love them, there is so much to the city that isn't just like the cool Instagrammable spots. So what do you think are some parts of like the real Madrid that people should really take time to get to know?
So I think you can find little pockets of that everywhere. You just have to be looking for it and know what to look for. Recently, I've been walking the Madrid River pretty much every day. I love going down there. It feels super local, madrileño. There's all these cool little like terraces from, in Spanish we say de toda la vida. It's like, you know, they've been there forever. So I really like that walk, just to stop. You can have a beer in the sun or a coffee. And I'm gonna no longer gatekeep this place. This is a big
Tell us, Maddy, tell us.
Okay, I can't believe I'm releasing this to the public, but I'm happy to. It's called La Mina. It's in Chamberí. It's been there since 1949. You can tell by the floor. Just take a look at that when you go. Incredible seafood, incredible Spanish food. I don't think there's one single person in there that's not Spanish, except me when I go.
Well, now it's gonna be me too.
It's awesome. So definitely go there if you just want an authentic Spanish experience.
I love that.
And good food.
I love that. And then in terms of assimilation, so I think one part of like understanding a culture is understanding its like norms, and like we talked about culture shock, but just like how to kind of respect a different way of doing stuff. For me, there was lots of little things. Like a funny example is like Spanish people don't get sangria, they get tinto de verano. But like with there's things around politeness and like turning up on time and being more family oriented, and like even little things like growing up Indian and British, we're very like shoes off as soon as you enter a house. And I was shocked when I moved to Spain, and that's not the case. Shoes on the carpet is crazy. But how can people who come to Spain embrace and respect Spanish culture as well?
I think there are a few things, and a lot of these you might not know when you first go there, but one important thing is just observing. I think when you move somewhere new, just sitting alone, no music, no headphones, nothing, no phone, and you just watch. You watch how people interact, you watch what they do. You can learn a lot and assimilate by just observing. One thing I always tell people though is when you come to Spain and you enter in a coffee shop or a clothing store, you always say hi. You always greet the person. You say, hola, buenos dias, or hola, ¿qué tal? And then you always say goodbye when you're leaving. Hasta luego. You always say that. You greet or you see people in your hallway, in your building. You always say hello. Say hasta luego. So I think that's one big one that's very important here. What else do Spanish people do? Have you noticed any others?
Again, I haven't lived in Spain for a long time, but I moved from the UK. I moved from London. Like I said, everyone is a very like rush, individualistic society. And so we would not be saying hi to people in the hallway because you would never get anywhere. There's so many people in the city. I think British culture is very much like you kind of give people their space. You don't ask very intrusive questions. So it's very like you do you, I do me kind of thing. And I found that coming to Spain, it was very open. People were way more invested super early on to meeting me in my life, in my personal life, asking about my family, asking about my friends. And I loved it. I loved it. It reminded me a lot about Indian culture. And then I think, again, being South Asian, there's not a lot of that in Madrid. And so I found that like a big culture shock, where I'd be walking down the street and people would be like, Morena! But like not in a racist way, in like a genuinely never having seen someone like South Asian way. But it was confronting. And so I think it's just understanding that each place has its own, what's accepted, what's not accepted, what's polite, what's not polite. And like it takes time to navigate that.
100%. But I think you sound very open-minded. So you're like, you know what? I'm in a new place. Things are different here. They're done differently. People act differently. People say things differently. It's just, a part of it. So it seems like you're very open-minded about that.
I try. And what you said around comparison is so interesting to me, because I feel like it's very human to compare and be like, I like this from my culture and I like this from this new culture, and kind of building your own unique culture. And you do that online with your account and you have a following now. So what is it like having the responsibility of representing Spain and Madrid, but also being authentic to yourself, and like the hybrid influences of being an American?
Yeah, it's tough because I see a lot of hate directed towards people from the US now living in Spain. I think sometimes coming from the US we get a bad rep because of tourism, honestly. You see kind of two sides of bad tourism. One being like the super people come here and just get drunk and, they don't care. They're doing whatever they want and trashing the city. And then you also have more of this arrogance of, oh, Spain is so cheap. And I think that side you see a lot on social media now. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, my rent is only 3,000 euros. I'm like, that's like triple people's salary for a month here. It's just, it can be very out of touch, I think. So I try and be that mediator of, hey, this is how things are done here. Like, this is an average salary here. You're kind of being quite disrespectful and arrogant by saying that. And then I do try and post in Spanish as well, like saying how much I love Madrid and trying to give, maybe some cool fun facts about Madrid that maybe Madrid locals don't even know, and trying to explain to them like why I love their country so much, how I can kind of like, mediate between these two groups of people that before I didn't really see people from the US moving to Spain before. It wasn't as common. Now I see people's entire families coming here. I see little kids from the US that grew up for a few years in the US. Now they're moving to Spain. So now I think these two worlds are colliding more than ever. So kind of getting to be that little mediator and, communicate between the sides has been awesome, but difficult as well, because, I don't want to get any hate. I don't want the giddy go home. So I'm just trying to navigate, keep everyone happy.
And what is it like from the American side? Because I imagine it must be quite hard having your family live really far away and your friends. And the more and more you embrace a new culture, you have slightly less space for the way that you used to do things and the way that you used to communicate and the way you used to be. And that medium space can be a little lonely. Like, I remember actually having the most crippling reverse culture shock when I went home, and I was like, oh God.
That's a very accurate representation. I feel the same way going home.
So how have you found kind of keeping the American part of your identity and your life as well?
I'm very lucky that I work for myself, so I can go back to the US whenever I want, and it's just, a direct 8-hour flight home. So I'm very lucky. So I do spend a decent amount of time in the US each year. But when I do, I'm like, man, I hate having to take the car everywhere. I just want to be able to walk on my door, walk 5 minutes to get a coffee. I want to sit in a plaza. And we don't have those third spaces in the US either. And, it's just life is house, car, job, car, house. So I had that reverse culture shock of like, oh man, this is not the life for me. I don't want to do this. What was the question?
Just like when you embrace a new culture, like how do you retain the parts of your culture that you actually care about, and kind of like that homesickness part of it as well?
Yeah. So I think going home helps with the homesickness and maintaining that. And now, since there are so many people from the US coming here, you're starting to see bagel places, brunch places, and the NFL was here. So we had, US American football here. So Madrid is changing in a way that I guess I kind of get to live the best of both worlds here. I do have friends from the US as well, so we meet up, we get to talk about our sports back at home and our families back at home, so that's kind of a connection as well. So Madrid has changed to the fact where I just get to live kind of both lives at once sometimes.
Nice. Do you have advice for anyone who's watching this who could be living in like a small town in the US or in the UK or elsewhere in the world, who is in a bubble that they don't necessarily feel happy in and they want to leave and maybe come to Spain or go somewhere else? Do you have any advice on like taking the first step and kind of going and starting a life from scratch?
Yeah, it's a big jump. It's a big leap of faith. You have to have a lot of trust in yourself that you're making a better decision for yourself, but don't be afraid to tell someone or upset people, because maybe they think you're just gonna go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, buy a house. You don't have to do that. You can make your own path. You can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. And I always say, just try it. If you think you might like it, go try it. You can always come back. You can always say, you know what, I did it for a year. It was great. It's not for me. I'm going to go back and do this route. Or maybe you find something else or you end up somewhere else. So I'm going to just try it. You can always go back.
I love that. What is one thing that you wish all Americans knew about Spain, or all foreigners knew about Spain?
Ooh, that's a really good question. It's not just a bullfighting, sangria, paella, drinking, people that don't work place. It's so much more than that, I would say, is my biggest one.
And what would you wish that all madrileños, madrileñas, españoles watching this conversation knew about guiris embracing their culture?
Well, that's a good one too. I would say, kind of be a little bit more open-minded about some of us. We might surprise you. I think we just have a bad stereotype normally, which maybe comes from good reasons. Just like we have stereotypes about Spain being bullfights and paella. So don't get caught up in the typical stereotypes that we're just going to get drunk and trash your country and we say it's so cheap. A lot of us are actually here for good reasons and the right reasons.
That's awesome. How can people stay connected with you and follow your life through Madrid?
So I'm Maddy in Madrid on most socials. On Instagram, I have a little underscore at the end because someone already took my name. But yeah, Maddy in Madrid. And that's where I just kind of post, tips for learning Spanish, life in Spain, Madrid recs, Spain recs, life in Spain, and just general stuff like that.
Awesome. I love that. Okay, before we wrap up, I am selfishly going to ask you for some more recommendations.
Okay.
So we did cafes already. Let's do bars. So the bar that you go for prees before you go out.
Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. I'll give you a wine bar rec. It's a natural wine bar though. I know some people aren't into funky wines, but this is a funky wine place.
Okay.
It's called La Alquimia.
Okay.
And they play such good music. I don't even know how to describe it. The natural wine, it's all candlelit. It's a vibe, perfect to get you in that mood before going out. If you want something a little bit nicer, I would recommend Le Clan.
Okay.
Le Clan is awesome. They have small bites too, so really good little small bites. Good cocktails, good wine. Sets the vibe for the night. It's kind of cozy, sexy, chic. And then you're gonna hit the town.
What about cheap and cheerful for my student baddies?
Cheap and cheerful. Let's see. I feel like nothing's cheap in Madrid anymore. Honestly, the recommendation I gave earlier, La Mina, they have a kind of standing bar area. It's always packed vibe. Go and have some wines or some beers. And I think it's like maybe 3-4 years or something for a good wine. So you can go there, have some wines, and then go about your way.
And I know it's very British tourist of me, but I kind of want to add El Tigre to the list as well.
El Tigre! Oh my gosh, I haven't been to El Tigre since I studied abroad here in 2019.
Yeah.
What a place.
What a place. Just for my fellow British tourists, it's a place where you order the drinks and then you get these tapas as well. And it's like, I don't want to call it grimy, but it's like, it's an adventure.
It's interesting. If you start your night there, you're going to have a good night.
You're going to have a good night. You're going to have a good night. Okay, so we've done prees, we've done cheap and cheerful. What about nice dress, good pictures?
Ooh, okay. At a bar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice dress, good pictures. I feel like you have to go with a rooftop. I feel like that, rooftop sunset could be good for that. I would go to Jardines de Sabatini. I think they're only open Thursday to Sunday though. Okay. But you have beautiful views of the Royal Palace in the background. So I can just picture you with your little cocktail, your dress, sunset, palace. It's going to be the best picture.
Okay. What about picnics? What are good places for picnics, apart from Retiro?
Yeah, everyone knows Retiro. I love the Parque del Oeste. Beautiful. It's centrally located. You can't go wrong. Just grabbing a blanket and heading down there. It's a good spot.
Nice. And for running?
Oh, I don't run, but...
Or walks?
For walks. I mentioned this earlier, the Madrid Rio. I should start running. Maybe I'll add that to my to-do list for April. Put it on there. But Madrid Rio is awesome for walks, and no one ever talks about it.
I love that. Okay, what about communities and groups to make friends? Because you mentioned meetups. So are there any communities, accounts, events that you recommend? So if you're a woman just traveling abroad, studying abroad, living abroad, Girl Gone International, they're literally in every city, I think, every country. They have incredible meetups. It's just a very positive, open-minded, friendly space. They do all kinds of events. You can even just make a post in their Facebook page and say like, hi, I'm new to Madrid. Does anyone want to get a coffee? You'll get hundreds of comments of people. So that, I love what they do. I also host events in Madrid. So if you're in Madrid, you want to come to a girl meetup, we are the Mad Gals. So you can go Oh my God.
See all the stuff we're working on there. We've done cool meetups with Benefit, the makeup company. We did like a Galentine's Day party. We're doing a rooftop sunset painting soon. It's our next one. So you can go check us out there. If you are a male and want something that allows men to come, I've heard great things over at Guiris de Mierda as well. So that's a good one to check out.
I have known the original Giri for a while now, and I was there at the first ever event. I was his intern back in the day. It was really funny.
Okay.
I was looking for coffee shop recommendations, and so I searched up coffee shop Madrid, and I found Tom, who is the original Giri, and he was making these posts, and then a week later he was like, looking for an intern, and I was like, well, I can't work because of my visa. I'm a student and I want to meet cool people. So I was like, hi, I volunteer as tribute.
What did you do for him?
A little bit of everything. Okay. We hosted the first speed networking event, and there was a few other events. And then when they had the launch of the brand, like the t-shirts, I went with him and someone else, and we went to a studio and we did like a shoot. It was awesome. He's amazing. And actually the producer of this season, I also met through Guiris de Mierda. Shout out Johnny. Someone please put a picture of Johnny on the screen in a second. But yeah, an amazing community.
Okay, awesome. And what a cool way to get some experience too.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, what I've really learned is all the random stuff that you do always links back in some way. Like the fact that I'm sitting with you on this couch today is because I sowed some seeds of interesting conversations and good ideas a few years ago when I first lived here.
It's cool. I feel like, putting yourself out there and doing these random little side quests, or, you say yes to a spontaneous plan. You never know where that's going to take you down the road.
What are some side quests that you're looking forward to? What's next for Maddy in Madrid?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I have some really cool projects I'm working on now. So I'm working with this company that has student residences, apartments all over Spain. So I travel with them. Next week I'm going to Malaga to check out their residence there and film some stuff for them, create some content. So I'd say that's like probably the coolest project. Personal life, I'm going to the World Cup this year.
That's exciting.
So I'm a huge soccer fan. So I'm so excited just to be there, see the energy and experience the World Cup. Incredible.
That is awesome. My last question for you is, this is Reclaiming Bossy. So I wanted to ask you if you've ever been called Bossy. What does it mean for you, and are you reclaiming it?
100%. When I was younger, I was bossy Maddy, bratty Maddy, sassy Maddy. I got all of those. And to me, it was just like, okay, I know what I want, and I went for it and I did it. I didn't listen to anyone else. I just built my own life the way I wanted to. And that always got me bossy. And I didn't take no for an answer.
I love that. And now you're Maddy in Madrid.
Yeah, I made it.
So I hope that everyone who listens to this takes this as a sign that you can build a life that you want.
Yes, and don't take no for an answer.
I love that. Thank you so much. I had so much fun.
This I want to keep chatting. Should we go to La Mina?
Let's do it. I love it. I love it. Oh, yeah.
Yay.
That's a wrap.